Welcome to the Counter-Apologetics segment, Pearced Off with Jonathan M.S. Pearce on Skepticule Podcast. This week I'm going to talk to you about original sin and Adam and Eve. But before I do talk about that, I want to just mention my choice of discussion, because on the Skepticule Facebook page I was having an argument with someone who claimed that I didn't really have the right to talk about Adam and Eve and original sin because I'm not a Hebrew scholar, or in fact that many Christians don't believe in original sin in the way that comes from a literal understanding of Adam and Eve. And of course this is true to some extent. Some Christians don't believe that, but of course one can claim a straw man of Christianity no matter what claims are made, because there are 42,000 different denominations of Christianity. So if you want to believe anything really, you can find a Christianity that will allow you to believe that anything. And so that the fact that one as a Christian can claim a straw man of any other understanding of Christianity. So, for example, you can pick holes in a literal understanding of Adam and Eve and claim that, well, Christians don't believe that. Or pick a hole in, say, a literal understanding of Luke's infancy narrative and find Christians that don't adhere to that historical literalism. But of course, you know, this then presents the no true Scotsman fallacy, where any Christian that doesn't agree with your version of Christianity is not a true Christian, and this is a fallacious approach. So either we critique aspects of Christianity and the various beliefs that various Christians have, or we just leave it well alone. And I'm one for critiquing Christianity in all its guises. Now, Adam and Eve as literal people that existed, and original sin as a concept, is something that is fairly core to a large swathe of Christianity. By that I mean a lot of Catholics, if not all of them, should believe in that understanding of Christianity because it's fairly doctrinal. Certainly Reformed theologians and epistemologists in these Reformed movements, evangelical movements, and certain Anglican movements as well, and certain liberal movements believe in Adam and Eve and as the root cause of original sin. So I think I'm well within my rights to critique the position. And the position is this, that Adam and Eve existed, and they were in the Garden of Eden, and they chose to eat from a certain tree, and that was a bad thing, and they had knowledge of good and evil, and they fell from goodness. The fall took place. And this sin is somehow passed on or inherited or embodied in humanity from that point forward. And I want to present a dilemma for God, or for people that believe that God is fair and all-loving. And the dilemma is this. And I'm going to use the term Adam here to represent Adam and Eve. I'm sorry, it's not particularly gender equal, but just for ease, I'm going to use Adam as choosing, even though I could use either or both here. So, God chose Adam to either represent humanity or as non-representative of humanity. Now, Adam failed the test that God set Adam and fell from grace. If Adam represents humanity such that all of humanity in that same situation would have done as Adam did, then Adam is a fair representative of humanity. However, if that is the case, and all humans would have fallen in such a situation, then the design of humanity is somewhat flawed, since God had designed humanity in order to fall from grace, or designed humanity that we would fall from grace in that foreknown situation. So we can really pick apart God's design skills. And we can't really blame Adam per se for the fall, because we all would have done the same. Now, if God chose Adam and Eve in such a way that they were non-representative of humanity, and Adam fell from grace, and the rest of humanity suffered as inheriting that original sin in some kind of way. Now, if Adam was non-representative of humanity, then we, in that given situation, would have chosen different, and quite probably, given that assumption, would not have fallen from grace. And therefore, it's not particularly fair that someone thousands of years ago chose in a particular way that the rest of humanity wouldn't have chosen, and the rest of humanity is in some way punished for that choice. So we really only have two outcomes for this whole procedure. Either Adam is representative of humanity, in which case we were designed pretty shoddily such that we would all fall from grace no matter what, or Adam was not representative of humanity and we are being unfairly punished for something that someone did thousands of years ago that we would unlikely have done ourselves. So all the generations thereafter are being punished on account of original sin. We are all depraved in some way or sinful in some way, but that is the direct result of a non-representative being chosen to represent humanity. And that's really all I want to say. I just want to put that out there, see what the panel have to say about that. And of course, if you don't believe in Adam and Eve as causing original sin to disseminate throughout humanity, then the argument obviously doesn't hold too much force for you. But of course, the notion of original sin, or in fact that we are just sinful, still has that idea of being problematic due to the fact that God has designed us, and apparently we are all sinful in nature. Now, if I sat at home or in my lab and designed a bunch of sentient creatures that I knew in advance, I knew 100% that they would be sinful, and once I created them in the lab, they would go out into the town and murder, rape and pillage. And I knew that, but I designed and created them anyway in the full 100% knowledge that they would do that, then who is ultimately morally responsible for their behaviour? Yes, we can say that those sentient creatures might be in some way responsible for their behaviour, but I would, as the creator and designer of those creatures, know full well what they would do, I would be morally culpable ultimately for that, in the same way that the CEO of a large corporate firm that did some terrible things on behest or in the knowledge of the CEO of that firm would be culpable in the courts of justice. So it's the same sort of analogy. God is ultimately responsible for our sinfulness. He could have created infinite number of worlds with infinite sort of different ways of us being or existing or acting, and he designed and chose this one knowing full well how we would react. So really, the argument of Adam and Eve can be extrapolated onto humanity even if Adam and Eve don't exist. So I think this is a relevant point to make, whether you believe in a literal understanding of Adam and Eve or not. And that's about that. So happy discussing. I've been Jonathan M.S. Pearce, and please visit my blog at A Tippling Philosopher. Come and check me out, and remember, question everything.